one yes trumps 1,000 no's. It took me 5 years out of Art Center to make a first sale, and there wasn't a day that passed that I didn't wonder what the hell I'm doing.
How active were you in trying to sell?
Very. I wrote every day. I took jobs that I wouldn't take full-time jobs. I would take jobs that were always temp jobs, so that I would work enough to make my rent and utilities for that month, and then I'd quit working. And I'd write. So I wrote a number of screenplays. One of them got me some attention, but it wasn't until I tried sitcom. My agent suggested sitcom that things started happening for me, and that's something I wouldn't have done on my own.
Then I have a question here. In your opinion, is it easier to write a feature or for television? I mean, the big screen or the small screen.
It's easier once the show is up and running. The pilots are their own animal, and they have their own challenges, and they're not that easy because you have to serve a number of masters. But once the show is up, I love writing television. I love writing TV over feature because if you've created these characters you want to spend time with, you've got in the case of Duckman, I loved writing that show because to us he was kind of an animated Howard Beale from Network, except he wasn't that intelligent, and so we did 70 episodes. I could have done another 70. And in the case of Moonlighting, we love doing romantic comedy. If you write a 2-hour romantic comedy, a 100-minute romantic comedy, you've got to set them up, give it the arc, pay it off, and walk away. In the case of something like Moonlighting, you had hours and hours to explore various facets of that relationship.
Exactly. Yes.
Through romantic comedy, and we loved it. We like it more than feature. And frankly, once again, at a certain point, the writer has more power in television. I mean, obviously not a staff writer, but if you work your way up to showrunner status, you've got power.
Hey, Ron.
This is a really funny thing because I have a friend who. Shut up, Jeff, or I'm going to kick your ass.
Pia, let Jeff ask a question.
No, go ahead, Pia. Go ahead, Pia.
No, I have a friend who wrote a television series, a pilot, and I don't remember now, 16 or whatever shows. And he went to the NatP thing in Los Angeles, and it was people picked it up and they were all excited about it and all this and that. And then they decided to ask him to please rewrite this into a feature script. Okay, so he did. But to me, what's the difference there? I mean, why would they want it as a feature instead? And what are the chances of a feature rather than a TV script?
Both are very slim odds. Look, my manager put it, these numbers are in the ballpark. 50,000 things get written, get registered every year. 500 get bought, 200 get made. I mean, that's kind of the funneling down of anything. It's hard to say. I mean, in TV, I suppose now with the 500 channel universe, there are more venues. Feature production has come down drastically ever since the strike 2 years ago. And before that, it wasn't great. I guess in terms of American studio films, you're looking before the strike about 500, 600. Right now, you're looking at about 350. So, think of everyone out there writing. And all the stuff that gets, and usually it's about 45 to 50,000 pieces of material get registered every year in the Writers Guild. So,
but so in your mind, if a studio asks you to rewrite your television series into a feature that's like kind of like a down thing?
No, it depends. If I thought the feature I had the meeting on today, if someone said this makes a great series, I would do it. In fact, a feature that I did not write with my partner called Heartland. A producer has come to me and said this would make a wonderful pilot if you can cut this down. It's kind of horror drama comedy, and it's all these interlocking stories a la Shortcuts or Pulp Fiction, and he wants to rework it as a pilot. And since it didn't sell, it got me a lot of meetings, but no one ever pulled the trigger on it. I'm considering it.
Okay.
Hey, Jeff, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, Ron, I have a question for you. I assume you did not create the characters for the Moonlighting, right?
No.
And what was it like coming into that, knowing that you got two main big stars with a very popular show and starting to write for them, talking and acting?
They weren't big yet. We came on in the very beginning. Glenn had done 5 or 6 shows that were a summer replacement. Bruce was an unknown.
I know he was at first, sure, yeah.
Yeah. And Sybil, I mean, yeah, she was a name, but my experience up until that point was to always come into existing shows and write. I was more intimidated writing for Robin Williams than anyone. So
even at the start of his career?
This would be the 3rd season of Mork and Mindy.
He was a fairly big comedian, though, right? Even before Mork and Mindy.
No, he was a street performer, and he did stand up in San Francisco. He did a guest spot on a Gary Marshall show. They spun it off into a series, and that was it.
Yeah, when was that? I mean, the really young Robin Williams. There's a stand-up show that they always show. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt the whole bit. It was that during the Mork and Mindy.
That was after.
Days?
That was after.
It was after?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but to answer your question, that's the norm. The norm is you go into a situation go into someone else's situation and write for that until you hit the level where you create the characters and the other people come on and write.
Okay, so Ron, is that easy or hard for you?
There's always a learning curve.
Wouldn't you rather write your own characters and go forward from that, or not?
Of course, but then it just depends on the opportunities and what you're ready for.
And why do they do that? Why do they bring people in when somebody's already wrote the character successfully?
Because you need a staff. Because, for instance, oh boy, this gets into a horrendous story, but we were asked by Aaron Sorkin to come on to Sports Night. Mm-hmm. And we liked the show. We actually loved the show. And we had a very nice meeting with him and said, in effect, that show is so your voice. It's been on. And we appreciate the offer, but there's not a lot we can bring to this. Mm-hmm. Now, then comes West Wing. And John Wells comes to us and says, well, look, here's a new show. He can't do 2 shows at once. Come on. We need people to run the writer's room. And you do this. And we thought, yeah, we watched the pilot. That's all that existed. And we thought, man, this is a show I want to be a part of. Now it would turn out to be a nightmare. But then we did. We went on to that show and, had to learn to write those characters. And, they were extremely well written on Aaron's part. I mean, whatever I think of him, he's a pretty brilliant writer.
And right. so when you write for a show, do they give you like the series Bible and then you have to write from that, or how do they get indoctrinated?
I've never seen a series Bible. I have never seen one.
Seriously,
I don't know who makes them. I don't know who writes them. I haven't done any show that I've done. I take it back. Disney. We just sold the series I did at Disney. They work from a Bible. They do. But in episodic mainstream television, I've never seen it. You come in, you read the scripts that are in development, you look at any produced film, and you just learn from that.